Previously on any revive. The action and fan service using a very basic, simple story as its catalyst. Solo leveling, shut the fuck up, it's not your turn. Oh buddy, if it was ever your time to finally shine, there's never been a better time than now. When it comes to anime adaptations, discussions involving what Hot Topic show is on its way to blessing the eyeballs of avid fans is not only something that has been more than entertaining to watch, but has also always been a great source in determining what to look for in an upcoming anime season. What should we watch? What should be disregarded? What might be good but is still sitting on the fence? All of these thoughts are very important for those of us who are seasonal anime watchers, as these minor tidbits of information are what allow us to optimize our viewing experience while being able to experience the best of what a particular anime season has to offer. Yet, on not so rare occasion, there's an announcement for an adaptation of a show so highly anticipated that any mere mention of its possible existence turns the internet into a ticking time bomb, set to explode in excitement at any possible confirmation or trailer release, and in this case, calling it a simple explosion is a cataclysmic understatement. Now, up until the release of a few teaser trailers and the ridiculously hyped episode 1 that followed, Solo Leveling wasn't a series that I was readily familiar with, as I'm not too accustomed to seeking out Korean manhwa despite the exceptional art quality and character designs, as well as, in very particular cases such as Tower of God, highly exceptional world building that only takes a simple glance to understand just how much time went into the preparation of a series so jam-packed with intriguing characters and detailed explanations or demonstrations that depict the laws of the world laid out beforehand with such detail and ease. So imagine my surprise when one episode and the following 2 days of binge reading later, I come to find myself understanding just how ludicrous this series really is. And combining that with the fact that the animators and OST composer for Solo Leveling's anime adaptation is A1 Pictures and Hiroyuki Sawano, the exact same people responsible for the show that overtook and became my favorite anime of all time, that show being 86, which you can find my video for in the top right and in the description. Where the fuck is my season 2? The bar of expectation for this adaptation was simultaneously set and shattered at the highest place I possibly could have placed it. And it was at this point I finally understood. This show just rewrote a story writing standard. So let's just take a step back, grab a drink, have a quick think, maybe hit that like and sub button if you're enjoying yourself so far, because what we're about to witness is something that feels like it hasn't happened in years. We're about to witness the birth of a legend, the birth of a god, the birth of a monarch. Solo Leveling is a power fantasy action series beginning its release cycle in Q1 of 2024 and tells the story of Sung Jinwoo, a monster hunter who is known to be the quote-unquote weakest hunter of all mankind, constantly being ridiculed by his fellow hunters and being used as a good omen, as any dungeon that Jinwoo is allowed to participate in is bound to be an easygoing one. That is, until his life took a turn for the deadly, when in one particular dungeon lies a secondary extension, what is known as a double dungeon. And this particular double dungeon is nothing more than an absolute massacre, where at the end of it all, Jinwoo is left as the last man standing, with the other accompanying hunters being dead or fleeing out of self-preservation, bleeding out, missing limbs, and armed with nothing but a mediocre sword against incomprehensibly powerful monstrosities. We come to find that Jinwoo's refusal to die leads him to fulfill the true requirements this dungeon requires of him, a trial to overcome through sheer will and refusal to die. And with this, he is selected to be the subject of a newly awakened power, one that allows him to endlessly become stronger, one that allows him to begin his journey from the world's weakest to the world's strongest. Now, before I continue, there's two major plot points I need to address before all this makes complete sense, that of which being the existence of gates and the corresponding hunters that deal with said gates, as well as the player leveling system Jinwoo newly has access to. Gates. Appearing out of seemingly nowhere, luminescent portals to several pocket dimensions appeared throughout the world, and the monsters that appear from within it are immune to conventional weapons, such as guns, due to the presence of mana. Subsequently, various people throughout the world awaken to special abilities that allow them to defeat these monsters, due to being blessed with the power of mana. This select group of individuals became known as hunters, and seeing how this must be a job that's incorporated into society to ensure the survival of the common human race, various guilds were established to manage and delegate the influx of gifted individuals popping up around the world. The most important detail of note when concerning the gates and the power level of any particular hunter is the ranking system used to determine how powerful an individual or monster / collective of monsters really is, and this is measured by the mana density dormant within a person or a gate. What's important to note about this is any awakened individual who's given a rank ranging from the low scoring E rank to the record breaking S rank stays at that rank and cannot increase their affinity or power level, meaning the only way a hunter can become become stronger is by honing their body and technique, albeit with a few exceptions, which I'll get to later. And this specific detail is what sets apart the conventional ranking system from the player system Sung Jinwoo now has access to. This external system, which I will be referring to as the leveling system from here on out, is one that allows Jinwoo to, as you may have guessed, level up as he kills monsters, which gives him skill points that are spec'd in strength, agility, perception, vitality, and intelligence, with each of these attributes improving his power, speed, ability to sense powerful and hidden enemies, durability, and mana required for magic, respectively. There's also a few other things like the shop, personalized dungeons, a daily quest system that allots him rewards in the way of skill points, a full stamina recovery, and a loot box. I think you get the general idea at this point. It works like a video game. And all of these things are specifically designed not only to make sure Jinwoo gets stronger as quickly as possible, but this system also has built-in warning measures built in place to make sure he survives, even going as far as to issue him a mandatory quest ordering him to kill anyone with high enough bloodlust targeted towards him, with the only alternative being his immediate termination. Gates and systems aside, an entertaining story is only made more interesting by its side characters, and in manhwa especially, there is never a shortage of characters, whether they be cute, cool, smoking hot, loyal, ripped out of their goddamn rocker, you name it. And in Solo Leveling's case, we got backstories galore, including Gina, Jinwoo's sister, Go Gunhee, the Hunter Association chairman, Woo Jin-chul, the chairman's assistant. I'm probably butchering all of these names and I am so sorry. And of course, there's the waifus, with the most notable two being Lee Juhee, a B-rank healer that's friends with Jinwoo, and Sha Hain, an immensely skilled S-rank swordswoman who, I mean, like, come on, you see that? You see that right there? We like that. We like that a lot. That right there, that is badass. I've been watching too much Tectone. Now, remember what I said about Jinwoo originally being known as the weakest hunter in the world? With that in mind, what do you think happens when someone who barely has any power is ridiculed by everyone he knows and has to essentially risk his life just to make barely enough money to support his sister and his mother's medical expenses? That mindset stays with you, even following a drastic change such as a reawakening, a rare occurrence which is the only way for a hunter to gain more power under normal circumstances. But in Jinwoo's case, he no longer has a limit. He's no longer bound by the common sense established by this world's knowledge of gates and magic. A hunter that can endlessly become stronger is less than unheard of to these people. It's impossible in every sense of the word. So knowing this, what do you think happens when that mental limit is released? What happens when Jinwoo finally adapts to his power and realizes that he's not the same weak hunter he used to be? What happens when this awakening occurs while once again in the face of death, taken advantage of by a separate group of sleazebag hunters who thrive in the slaughter? The realization that humanity is cruel, the realization that the world is cruel, the realization that this power is a means to an end, a way to move forward, a way to surpass his former self, the realization that this newfound strength of his is a way to overcome every single weakness that has plagued his life since becoming a hunter, and with that, the tides have turned. Sung Jinwoo finally has a goal, and you are in the way. He finally has a target, and it's painted on your back, preparing to swallow you whole with the waves of change. For nature is a cruel, unforgiving mistress, and you pissed off her master. Moral of the story? You fucked with the wrong monarch. 俺だって生きて帰りたい。強者だけが生き残るのであればもう一度チャンスがある。ハンターがハンターと呼ばれる理由、本当の狩りの始まりだ。